Hey guys, how's it going? Haven't done a Bose video in a long time, and figured tonight's a good night as any. About a month and a half ago, wife and I, we purchased a Cadillac SRX. It's the mid-tier of the SUVs. It's it's a nice little vehicle, and of course it's got a Bose system inside of it. Tweeters in the dash, mid-ranges on the top of the door, small woofers in the bottoms of the door, and then basically another mid-range and then woofer arrangement on the second doors. Nothing in the back hatch. There's an 8-inch subwoofer at the bottom of the console because, again, bass is omnidirectional, so it kind of makes sense. It's a cool system, and like I said, I always leave everything in the flat mode. Same thing in my son's 2016 SS Camaro, same thing. You know, he's got a Bose system in it, and yeah, leaving these things with everything set to flat makes the speakers last a lot longer, I've found in my experience. But getting back to the Cadillac and Bose, it's not my first exposure. My dad had a 1966 Sedan DeVille. That thing was a lot of fun. It had the chrome dial on the steering wheel to do the whole telescoping thing, and then it had the handles on the side of the steering column to tilt it up and down. And back then, everything was, chrome on steel on the interior. Not just on the bumpers. The vents were all, when I say solid chrome, it's still chrome-plated steel. And yeah, it was a great little car. Well, not a great little car, it was a big car. I think it had a 419 cubic inch engine in it. And, we'd gone on a lot of trips with it when I was a kid. And about 41 years ago, somebody tried to hotwire it. And they weren't successful, but they were successful in burning out the wiring harness in the car. So my dad never, fixed it. I mean, he ran a shop for so many years, and yeah, he never bothered to fix it. Wound up giving the car away to a friend. Next exposure to Delco GM Bose was a friend of my dad's when he had his shop in the late 80s. He had a 1985 Park Avenue, and it had a Delco GM Bose system in it, and that had the 2 full range drivers in the doors on the bottom, tilted up, and same 2 full range 4.5-inch drivers, same like what's in the 901s in the rear deck. All 4 speakers were on their own housing, right? Had a active amplifier, with equalization, and this is going back to 1983 in the Cadillac Sevilles, and the Corvettes. Camaros would be a little later on. That Delco GM Bose system in the Park Avenue taught me a lot, because I just started getting into car stereos. I was, just finishing high school, starting college, and you're on a budget. So when you're doing your own car stereo, everything's budget, from the cassette player to the speakers to the equalizer, amplifier, those little boosters you had back in the day, right? And anytime I would take this Park Avenue to go get coffee at Tim Hortons or something, I'd have my Supertramp cassette, or what was the other one that I used to, Holtz the Planets. I recorded that, or ELP or whatever, and it sounded really nice. I mean, and it kind of told me what a car stereo should sound like. the fact that 4.5 inch drivers are making all this noise in the car, still to this day blows my mind. You know, I mean, now, yeah, you've got multiple, drivers all over the damn place, but, 30 plus years ago, actually 40 years ago, they were doing it with just 4 of these and some equalization and some, decent amplifier power. People love to shit on Bose, especially when it comes to the car stereo stuff and all this. If you don't know how to set it up, of course it's going to sound like shit. I found that this Caddy that we've got, the SRX, it's got all these different modes, center mode, this mode, and they all sound like crap. I put it in flat, bass, treble, mid-range, all set to 0. Fader, I always like the fader a little bit towards the back seat so I get a nice fill in the car, and it's awesome, right? There's a YouTube video, and I think it got pulled because I searched and searched and searched. Dr. Bose in a lecture talks about how he wound up working with General Motors and how he almost lost that contract when he told them how he wanted to do the stereo system, right? And when he told them the whole idea about tilting the front drivers up, so they were literally, we call it crossing the streams now, I guess, or doing an extreme toe-in with your speakers, right? And he suggested doing the same thing, but in a car environment, where the two drivers are tilted up so that the passenger side one is actually facing the ears of the driver and the driver's side one is facing the ears of the passenger. And they thought he was nuts. He said it himself in this video, and I wish I could find the damn thing and send you guys a link. Bose was the first, consumer electronics manufacturer to get their their speakers in vehicles, right? And after that came the Ford JBL, then came the Chrysler Infiniti, and those early Chrysler Infiniti systems of the late 80s, they all had the planar magnetic tweeter in them. That's basically it for this one, guys. It's a short one. In the comments section, tell me what was your first exposure to a factory car stereo that was basically designed by a well-known manufacturer. Nowadays there's so many, everybody from Mark Levinson to Harman Kardon to Boston Acoustics for a little while. And I think Bose now is no longer being used by GM, is the rumor I heard. And I think they're going to AKG or some fucking thing, which I don't know. That's it for this one. We got a little surprise coming up for you in the next video, which I'm not going to talk about now. I'll talk about it in the next video. And thanks again for watching. Cheers. And again, let me know in the comments section what was your first factory stereo that was, designed by a consumer speaker manufacturer. Cheers, guys.